All right, down here in the bottom left, the favorite, herO. And over here in the, over in the upper right is Seed. So I've casted SSL, GSL, some Brood War, and Pro League, and all the intros are operating slightly differently.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get it all down for sure. That one really snuck up on you really quickly. I wasn't expecting it to go that fast. It's shorter than last year, actually.
Although I don't mind it, actually. I don't know if you need to always have the epic intros.
Yeah, sometimes there's definitely some overdoing that can be done. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, brother.
I didn't explain it very well there, but you can sometimes overdo it. I'll just leave it at that. It's already been botched.
Okay. So, we're going to start out this PvP. We already see Seed beginning to scout. Is he going to do anything sneaky here?
Well, I think if you're in the mind of Seed, you definitely have to do something a bit differently. You don't want to play a standard game against a guy like herO. The other thing about herO is that he's got a guy on his team called Hush, who's like a PvP mastermind. So he's practicing with someone who is very fantastic in the matchup for sure. And I wouldn't expect anything different for Legacy of the Void for that fact. So herO definitely the favorite. I think Seed's got to try to mix it up here a bit.
PvP, it's always been an interesting matchup, especially in Starcraft 2. And it has not slowed down with this iteration here in Legacy. If we go to late game, we do see Disruptor tech used a lot. We have the Stalkers microing around trying to dodge Disruptors. We've seen every imaginable opening as well, from crazy cheeses to people going for Blink Stalker, going for DTs. Obviously the Adept, definitely one of the units that has really rearranged the way the matchup is working. And we have a quick pause here.
Yeah, I attempted to say PPP, but
yeah. Okay, so we got our ref going in there. And we're going to find out what's happening. He might be like, my monitor doesn't work. And then we're going to be like, well, I'm sorry, the rules are you just have to try to finish the game. And then he beats Seed, and we're like, wow.
There's a thing in there that said you are the brightest star in the night sky. Kind of interesting because his teammate is named Byul, which is the Korean name for star. So I'm like, I'm not sure if you gave that to the right person or what you're really trying to say with that. But
well, he could just be a star in general, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
All right, so there was an issue with the hotkey setup, and obviously you're going to have your hotkeys in order to ever play a proper game.
Yeah, but generally the players get some time in the beginning before the match starts to just
you might get like a yellow card or something.
Yeah, I think you might get a warning, and if anything happens again, they might lose a point, actually. You got to be careful about that for Pro League especially. We've seen teams actually lose because they got a bunch of penalty points. Oh, this guy got
the box.
He got the box.
He didn't just download it, he got the box. Somebody get herO to sign that box. Seed as well. In fact, you got two teams down here right now. Get them all to sign it.
Yeah, we didn't get into that sign too much. I think it had some stuff about Seed up there, and I think that's why the camera goes over to him. Oh, we're back here. I don't know who Lee Jong-hoon is. I think these are
that's
Marine King. Oh, okay. And
I believe Eon Sub is Choya. If my memory it works.
You're getting it before me, Tasteless.
Yeah, it just suddenly came to me. Not because my producer told me.
Yeah, magically flew into our ears.
That's right. We're back into this game. The hotkeys have been fixed. But definitely a bit of a tense moment there because I don't think he's going to be allowed another pause.
Yeah, if anything else goes wrong, they'll definitely lose a point. And as I was saying before, teams have actually not made it to playoffs because of that. I don't remember a specific time, but I know it has happened before.
Really, really sad way to go, too, you know?
Yeah.
Now we have the Adept actually moving around here past the Mothership core, and we also have another Adept. In this case, it is from herO down here. He's staying back at his base. The Mothership core is going to try to come in here and just get any information he could possibly use. And this Adept is used to poke in and get a glimpse of any tech.
Yeah, just not sure actually what he did see, but the Mothership Core now is coming in and is going to be able to see the Stargate over here. Just going to try to get one kill on the probe and then back out. So both these players, I think, getting a good amount of scouting information from the get-go.
3 Adepts coming out here now for herO. A little bit of poking, and you know, with the builds they're both doing at this point in time, they can begin to tech up. You do want to be vigilant, though, of Seed's Oracle that's going to come in here now. Oracle can do a lot of damage, but as you can see right now, both players synced up, third base expanding. Obviously, neither player can kill the other one, so you might as well take an additional base. And this really shows that PvP has become a matchup where you get a lot of bases very quickly.
Yeah, Legacy of the Void in general, you do that, but PvP for sure. It's very hard to kill your opponent early on, especially if everything does get scouted like it did in this game. So probably just going to have a bit of a longer one here as these players do macro up, get their bases, as you were saying. And this is my favorite part of Legacy of the Void for PvP, is when you get to this mid to late game and there's balls of Blink Stalkers, Disruptors, you got some Adepts in there as well. It's insane, man.
It's pretty cool to watch. It's pretty fun to cast. We want to keep our eyes peeled on how much they're teching. For instance, over here, we see from herO is getting Blink. On the other side, the Robo Bay just now finishes up here for herO. And we're going to see this massive gateway explosion kick in over here. The pylon, by the way, at the entrance being taken down here. It's not uncommon for Protoss players to wall themselves off early on, so they are able to tech. We've even seen crazy stuff from players like SOS, where they actually really like tech so hard that they're like doing double Stargate into Phoenixes, and they just walled themselves in, and it's pretty entertaining.
And the other part of the wall is that you just get to block Adepts from coming in, you know. As you saw earlier on in the game, Seed was able to get his Adept all the way into the base of herO and see everything that he needed to see, whereas herO saw that it was blocked and he had to use his Mothership Core, in fact, to scout. So using a bit of energy there. And this Oracle still flying around, trying to find some damage, scout a bit, but herO more than ready.
And also, you want to definitely watch for that Oracle trying to tag the Stalkers when they start to get in big clumps. Oh, nice! Actually, just coming up here and getting this Adept. Oh! Almost overextending there and losing his own Oracle. But back to what I was saying, yeah, I mean, a lot of times you want to try to tag, you know, whether it's like a War Prism or a group of Stalkers, because that way you can really shadow their movement and counter them pretty hard. Because frankly, in PvP, if you know where their Stalker ball is moving around the map and they don't know where you are probably going to win that.
Yeah, we had a crazy game between Stats and Patience in SSL actually last week, where Stats was just way outplaying Patience. He had his Stalker ball that you were talking about, just always avoiding the army and getting critical amounts of damage to the third base of Patience over and over and over again. So this is definitely one of these maps that's quite big for a two-player map. You've got like two big paths, one on the left, one on the right, that you can kind of abuse, try to get around your opponent with some Blink Stalkers, some Adepts even, if you want to add those in. So I've been liking PvP on this map too.
The Observer right now for herO has actually done a really good job scouting. I'm kind of surprised that Seed didn't manage to eventually find that and pick that off, because that's actually moved through the base basically freely the whole time. The fourth base, by the way, now being acquired here in the bottom center for herO. But there is a possibility we will have, or excuse me, is it Seed that has the Warp Prism? Let me check on the unit tab here. I think I might have swapped them in my brain. No, it's herO that has the Warp Prism. Okay, well then I would say that expansion possibly safe then for herO to take.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Going to come in here, lift up a couple of these Stalkers, and the Oracle is left to do a ton of damage. There's no cannon over here, and the Mothership Core is not in position to put down that overcharge. All the Stalkers trying to get in here, and at the end of it all, he's going to get 6 kills and back out with his Phoenixes. So getting a lot of damage done with this Oracle there, but he does lose it. Really
nicely done back there. So herO, because he's gotten his expansion up, he's going to rely on the DT harass. If Seed tries to be too aggressive here, if he tries to push out too much, immediately these DTs are going to get dropped. So we're going to have to see Seed take a fourth base as well.
Now he's got some pylons over here actually to use spots. He's got a couple of them just to make sure, and he's got these 3 Phoenixes as well to
gotta be
just
careful.
block the way.
If he loses that Warp Prism, it's pretty bad. Supplies right now, virtually the same. But when you're this close, I don't see Seed actually pushing out and attacking into his opponent and it actually working. Oh, nice job! And he manages to save the Warp Prism. Beautiful play there by herO. This might be a game that is actually not won in one big, brilliant attack, but just these very small little victories that eventually end up with herO in such a massive lead. There's no way that Seed can recover.
Yeah, herO definitely in a good spot. He's about to get his +2, but I think he's thinking about attacking first. It wouldn't really make sense because he does have that 4th base, and he could just wait for +2 and more disruptors, but the composition that Seed is going for, he has no disruptors right now. It's purely charge lot, mostly, and then you got about 3-4 Immortals as well as maybe 2 or 3 Archons in the back, but definitely favoring herO's composition.
Is herO just going to come in here and kill him?
He might be.
Is this going to be one of these funny games where herO actually took another base quicker, just still outproduced him? You know, this is like not how any of the games we normally cast would look like, right?
Yeah, and look at this. Seed's army is out of position now, and I mean, herO doesn't really have all of his army together. He needs more disruptors in there.
Was there a DT over at the top center?
Over by the base that Seed's trying to make.
Hold up. And, all right, the engagements actually happened. Now, if herO were to win this, that would be completely insane. Oh, nice disruptor usage there.
And he's on the run right now. We got those charge-outs on the chase here. Those disruptors are on cooldown, trying to get the good shots here. Getting rid of most of the Zealots in the front, but herO actually has to back off. There's way too many Archons in this mix.
You know, the other problem, though, okay, nice pickups. The other problem is that with this army, if he uses disruptors right, it's pretty much impossible for the Zealots to effectively avoid because they're not that quick of units.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a counterattack here with some Stalkers, but again, the number of Immortals, Zealots, and Archons here is a little bit scary. Let's see if he can get a good position here and engage in this. herO now backing up, using that blink very effectively to pick his fights. It looks like, yeah, Seed will have to leave that area. Same with herO with the small Stalker harass.
Oh, herO actually blinking in, eating a huge amount of damage. The Disruptor trying to get a good shot there on a bunch of those Immortals in the back, but overall, I feel like Seed is doing a decent job, but now he's got to back off because the barrier is down for those Immortal, and he has no Zealots in the front to tank.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Seed definitely has a more complex army. I mean, it's basically herO with these Stalkers. He's going to have to win with finesse here. And let's see at these. There we go. That's what I was talking about. It's so hard for Protoss to actually, with Zealots, just the way they clump up to begin with, and the speed at which they move, there's not a lot you can really do about that. So the Zealot Archon army, if herO controls this right, he should have an advantage.
Yeah, and now that Seed's lost a lot of his Phoenixes, he can't pick up any of these Disruptors. Now, that was a really nice play.
Really good point.
That he had at the 3rd base where he lifted, I think, 2 or 3 of those Disruptors, and he almost had a game-winning fight there, but wasn't quite able to finish it off. And now herO, as you can see, he's got about 5 Disruptors in this mix. He has no Archons or anything, as you were talking about how Seed's army is a bit more complex. He's got more unique units in there, but herO just trying to make it work right now with Blink Stalker Disruptor. I think the more standard mix right now.
Yeah, this is the one I like to cast. Oh, that was sick. This is the one I like to cast a little bit more of, is Stalker Disruptor, because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there is, in some ways, a lot of stability here by Seed. Seed has to play a real chess game here on the map to eventually overcome his opponent with this army composition. Whereas, herO, it's going to be all mechanics of how he controls the army. You can kill almost anything with Stalker Disruptor, but you can lose also very easily if you miscontrol your army at all.
Yeah, you got to be careful with these big blinks into the huge force of about 7 Immortals there in the middle.
Yeah, the Immortals are just going to destroy those Stalkers if they get a fight that they want to have.
All these Zealots kind of getting ahead of the rest of the army. And look at all these Disruptors that are in the back that Seed hasn't even seen yet. I think herO wants to take a fight.
He's been hiding them, and I think it's a pretty damn good job. Now, note, he can come up here, and look at how he can actually engage this. Well, we're going to see him do it in a second. Here we are with these Disruptors. He can hit this so effectively. However, the Zealots and the Immortals are coming down here. These Stalkers do not have much room to run.
Not much room to run, but bigger and bigger Disruptor shots hitting over and over again. Seed, though, he wants to make this work with another big warp-in of Zealots. He may try to go for some harass as well with that Warp Prism, maybe send it in a different direction. But for now, he's been stopped.
You know, one thing I want to point out about, too, when I look at this game, is it's not just that herO has to control correctly, because there's a lot of burden on Seed to try to handle this properly. As you can see, it's hard for him to retreat, especially the Immortals. These units are slow. They've never been fast. So you can get in there and pick off a lot of slow retreating units and end up getting gains that way after a battle that initially looked like it was a pretty close exchange.
Yeah. Both these players now finishing their +3 weapons for their ground units. Looks like herO's a bit quicker on the draw once again for his +1 armor. Kind of interesting that he doesn't go for shields with the amount of Archons that are going to be getting into the mix here. Oh boy, this Warp Prism is going to be taken out. Only 2 Zealots do survive and jump out of that Warp Prism. Kind of a miss micro there by Seed.
A little bit of miss there, and let's see what Seed can do in this game. I mean, herO's kind of just been ahead of him for most of this. You know, he's always expanding more quickly, not necessarily taking out bases or dealing a lot of damage, but it's like we're watching a race where one guy is just always a few steps ahead, and I'm really wondering when are we going to actually see, if at all, if Seed can even begin to catch up.
This is so cute by herO. While this fight is going on, one Stalker is trying to delay that base. Not going to work out, but herO once again trying to micro his Blink Stalkers and take a fight there. Just trade a little bit with the Blink Stalkers. And he has identified now that this 5th base is coming up.
Well, you know, one thing about the army for Seed is that it's not nimble. It's not like a map control army. It's actually like insanely slow, you know, ball of Protoss damage.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because of that, you can play this angling game. And already, look at this, he's baiting out these Zealots. I love the exchanges he's getting here.
Yeah, and at the same time, small task force of Stalkers going over to cancel that base. More Disruptor shots coming out here. Doing a decent trade there.
You can see these two guys definitely with 2 very different approaches to how this matchup is supposed to work, which is really cool. You know, so often mirror matchups come up. The 2 guys doing the exact same thing. By the way, huge victory there. Takes out the Nexus. Not even a cancel, actually a kill.
Yeah. Seed just right now trying to pay attention to this fight. It's really on a knife's edge at this point. He has to be so careful with how he fights this Stalker army.
Oh, this is so smart. I mean, these Stalkers are worth almost nothing, and he can still come in here and start to hit any probes, anything that's going to keep this army controlled. It's really like this harass play. I mean, Stalkers are kind of like, especially when you're in plays like this, they can be a little bit like ground mutas or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in a way.
You get a little...
Especially on a map like this, where you can come from so many different angles to do harass, as we were just seeing there. Seed not paying attention, trying to spread out his army first.
I feel like this is a game that Seed is just eventually, you know, the well is going to dry up, if you will. He's having a hard time expanding. herO, by the way, another expansion here at the bottom right. He basically owns the entire bottom of the map. Oh my god, and here we're gonna have the huge engagement coming up here now. Disruptor's coming in. Oh, so sick! Excellent connections there with those Zealots and doing a great job hitting those Immortals as well.
Yeah, the pickup there on the Disruptors as well was really, really cute. Not sure if it's really going to work out. herO's been so fantastic kiting this entire army. All these Zealots, as you were saying, just being kited to eternity. And now all the Phoenixes as well have gone down. And herO big time winning that fight. Just way too many Disruptors and the Stalkers on the ground to push back the Phoenixes, kill them, allow the Disruptors to fall from the sky. And oh boy, 3
so
Archons all left alone.
So good. You know, I do feel like if we had Seed playing on a really small map with this army comp, it'd be better.
Well, that's what happens when you have no answer for Disruptors and you're not going Disruptors of your own. And,
oh my god. Okay, I think we're going to see GG in a second here. This game's over. GG. All right. I got a lot to say about that game. That army comp that Seed had, you know what? It's not terrible, but on a map that's that big and that open, how are you ever going to catch up to your opponent's army? I mean, literally, herO is running circles around Seed.
Yeah, literally. We've seen this before. As I was saying in SSL, just go back and watch Stats and Patience. He did a very similar thing, even though at the time they were going for a very similar composition. The idea still stands.
Yeah, you had Seed going for like entering into the very beginnings of the late game, he had an army that I think most traditional Protoss players would give a nod to, saying that looks great. That's something that's going to be tough to deal with. But herO was really in this for the long run. herO's saying, no, I'm going to win this when I have 6 bases. I get the Stalkers and Disruptors to the point where you can't ever attack out into me, and eventually I'm going to end up with such a lead economically, I can do whatever the hell I want. I can suddenly just make a bunch of Archons and DTs. You name it, I can do it.
Yeah. There was a point in time where Seed almost had a decent fight, but herO was always fighting away from his bases, not letting Seed take out any of those bases that herO had gotten. So he just did a very nice job of delaying. You were talking about the ground metas, the Stalkers going in for the snipes on that one base, and then the harass on the 4th base as well. It was just really nice for keeping Seed back in his base and giving the advantage to herO over the course of that game.
All right, we're going to be going to the next match shortly here. That was a great game. Seed can hold his own, but clearly herO is just the better player.
Yeah. So game number 2 is going to be Bjell versus Blaze, PVZ. We've seen a couple of these over here. It's going to be on Ruins of Ceres, so it's a very big map. Very interesting one for PVZ.
It could be a map Bjell's strong on, but let's also keep in mind here that Bjell actually, in some of the games I've casted of him so far in Legacy, he's not looking that great yet.